A new version of Deepen was released today. Deepen is a Linux distribution that is based on Debian. Its country of origin is China, so it's a Chinese Linux distribution. Today, we're going to take a look at their brand new version, Deepin 15.6. Let's take a look. So, Deepin 15.6, just released today. Looking at the release notes over on the Deepen website at deepen.org. Deepin 15.6, great improvements in the details is the headline here. Taking a look at some of what has changed here in Deepin 15.6. The welcome program, it looks like it's got a little update, a facelift. Looks beautiful. The left-hand navigation bar, the panel, the little side panel that pops out on the left-hand side of the screen in the Deepen desktop environment, now has these navigation buttons, which is really nice. One complaint about that left-hand navigation panel is there's a ton of stuff in it and you have to scroll down. This actually makes quickly navigating that left-hand panel much easier. So big props to the Deepen team for that. That is a big improvement. Now they have something called the new small window launcher. Customize your unique window, or your unique menu. A launcher in small window mode better fits the habits of dual system users and new users, making the transition easier. The sequence of applications in all programs list in the same as that in full screen mode. Okay. So I guess they're trying to get a little more consistency between the full screen menu mode and then your standard kind of Windows start menu kind of mode here. Comprehensive Deepen manual, so they have their Deepen instruction manual. Better theming, more consistent theming. Now we have the option of choosing between light and dark themes, and pretty much most of the programs in Deepen now respect that, where before you would choose a light theme or a dark theme, but still half of your programs were light when they should have been dark, or dark when they should have been light. They're getting a little bit more consistency out of the user interface now, so I'm going to go ahead and install Deepin 15.6 today inside a VM. I'm going to install this inside VirtualBox. So let me fire up VirtualBox here. Okay, so I'm going to install Deepin here inside VirtualBox. The ISO for download, the size of it was just a little over 3 gigs. It was like 3.07 gigabytes in size. So pretty big ISO actually. I'm actually a little concerned. I only gave this VM a 15 gig hard drive. I'm not sure if that'll be enough space or not. I assume it will. I don't think Deepin has given me problems before. Most VMs, I give them 15 gigs of space, and I don't think I've had a problem with Deepin running out of space before. Alright, now we have to select our system language here. Of course, English is the language I need. Insufficient disk space. Okay, so this will be a problem. It needs more than 16 gigs. So I gave this machine, again, about 15 gigs of space. 16 gigs is actually what it thinks I gave it. But it's asking me to give this machine at least 20 gigs. So let me stop the recording and let me create a bigger virtual machine. Alright, and let's try this again. So this time I created a new VM. I gave this VM 25 gigs for space. Since the Deepen installer is saying we need at least 20 gigs. I went ahead and gave it 25 just to be safe. And I should have went ahead and bumped it up. Instead of using my usual 15 gigs of space, I should have known that 3 gig ISO. It's a lot of stuff that Deepen's going to install. Alright, system has detected that you are using a virtual machine, which will affect the system performance and operation experience. For a smooth experience, it is recommended to install Deepen in real machine environment. So basically, it's warning me, hey, I'm using a VM. VMs, Deepen may not run right in a VM, whatever. Yeah, I know I'm using a virtual machine. I know a virtual machine is not a real machine, but still. Do we really need that warning? I wish they would just get rid of that screen. I complained about that the last couple of times I've taken a look at Deepen. Because that would scare some people, getting that kind of warning. Alright, we need to create a username. I'm going to create DT as my username. We need to create a strong and complicated password for DT. Alright, time zone. The Deepen installer is always really good at, selecting time zone, free space. It detects my 25 gig virtual hard drive here. They start the installation. Please select one of the partitions. So I guess I need to click that drive, click Start Installation. The following operations will be executed. Please confirm please confirm and continue to avoid data loss. Okay, so it's going to format /dev/SDA and create an MS-DOS new partition table. Create new partition /dev/SDA1 as root mount point, type extended for file system. That's all good, standard stuff. All right. And then the installer begins. Now, that was actually pretty fast. I'm not sure if there's going to be more to the install after this. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, though. I'll be back once this portion of the installation is completed. Alright, the installation has completed, or at least this portion of the installation. Now I need to reboot the machine. I will say, the installation for Deepened does take a little bit longer than a lot of modern distros these days. A lot of times, 5 to 10 minutes for that portion of the install to complete. You know, once you get to the progress bar that goes from 0 to 100%. Most distros, you're talking under 10 minutes. It took a good 15 to 20 minutes for that to complete here in Deepened. Now, it's not a terribly long time to wait for an install, but it was a little longer. But again, the ISO is also a little bigger too. It was 3 gigs in size. So I'm going to reboot this VM. Alright. Rebooted the virtual machine here, and this is our freshly installed Deepin 15.6. And we'll see how long it takes for boot up. Okay, we got to this login manager very fast, actually. Very fast, even for a VM. Alright, and friendly reminder, the system has detected we're using a virtual machine. Virtual machines kind of suck, yada yada yada. Yeah, we know that. Now, do I want to do effect mode, which enables all the cool, fancy animations and effects and stuff, and cool blurring and all that, or do we want to do common mode? You guys that are checking out Deepen in a VM, like I'm doing, you do want to do common mode. Effect mode is going to cause the CPU to spike. I'm talking like it's going to be pegging at 100% most of the time in the CPU if you do effect mode. So do common mode in a VM. Alright. And, okay, we have this little screen here. I guess this is supposed to be the welcome screen. Nothing's on it except this little play button. So I guess it's a video. Wow, and it has some sound. Wow, really cool. I actually wasn't expecting this. I thought this would be like your standard welcome greeter that so many distros do these days, but it is actually a video showing you how to navigate the Deepened desktop environment. Very cool. I'm going to go ahead and close this though. Wow, that is actually really neat. You know, Deepened, you know, really gets so many things right as it's such a clean and polished distro. You would think this was a corporate-backed distro. You would think somebody like Red Hat or Canonical or SUSE was putting out this thing, because you usually don't see community distros that are this clean, that are this well put together. Let me go ahead and go through the menu here. Of course, by default, the menu is this full screen launcher, kind of reminiscent of, you know, the full screen launcher you get in something like the GNOME shell or the Unity launcher. KDE Plasma even has a full screen launcher nowadays. I've never really liked navigating this thing. I'm more of an old school kind of guy, so I would like this. You know, you hit the kind of minimize, maximize button, I guess, if you will. Here you can change the full screen launcher to a standard menu. And I will say that we read the release notes. The standard menu has been changed, and it looks gorgeous. I mean, you have, I guess this is supposed to be our picture or whatever for our user. I guess we can set that up. I'm assuming that's what that's supposed to be. We have time and date also in the menu. That's kind of unusual. I don't think I've ever seen that in anybody's menu system before. It is very well organized now, as far as we have our categories here. Computer, for example. Actually, that is not a category. That is locations within our directory structure. That opens the file manager. That's actually really, really cool. We go to all programs. Does that list every program in the system? I'm not exactly sure exactly how to navigate this menu. They've changed. It used to have categories. If I go back to the full screen launcher, you have categories in it. And if I go back now to this menu, yeah, I guess they took away the categories. It used to have categories. Now it just shows everything in this one gigantic list of programs. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. Anyway, I'm going to go through all the programs on the system. Since it's not categorized, I don't like that, to be honest, because I like breaking things down by category. So I'm actually going to go back to the full screen launcher. Alright, under Internet, we have Google Chrome as our default browser. Skype is installed. That's interesting. Thunderbird is our email client. Is this the Skype installer, or is Skype actually already installed? It's probably just a link to the Skype for Linux installer. And I clicked on it and nothing happened. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on with that, but Skype is not working. Let's see, we have under Music, Spotify, and Deepin Music. Deepin Music is one of the custom Deepin apps, and it is a really nice music player. I clicked on that as well, and nothing happened. Okay, Deepin Music took a second to load up, but it finally opened up. Skype, though, Skype never opened, so I'm not sure what's going on with Skype. I wish I could show you guys a little bit of Deepin Music, but I have no music, obviously, on this brand new VM. So I'm going to select Exit. By default, when you close Deepin Music, it minimizes to the sys tray. I actually want the program to just close all the way out. I don't want a lot of these programs that I open to be minimized to the sys tray, because it'll spike the CPU and memory a little bit, because I'm going to take a look at system resource usage here in a little bit. Alright, under Video we have Deepin Movie, Deepin Screen Recorder, Deepin Voice Recorder. Let's take a look at Deepin Movie. And took a couple of seconds for that to launch too, but really nice looking movie player. I don't know too much about it. I've never actually lived in Deepin. I've taken a look at it in VMs a number of times. I've never actually put it on physical hardware and tried to live in it, although I suspect I would probably be okay with it. I'm the kind of guy that I like minimal desktop environments and window managers. I like lightweight. I like fast. Deepin's kind of heavy, but one thing I give Deepin credit for is the workflow. Seems really nice, really familiar. Wow. Skype. I clicked on that Skype icon like at least a minute and a half ago, and that thing just launched. I agree, I do not agree. I'm not going to agree to Skype's terms of use. I was just seeing if it was actually installed. Well, anyway, graphics. We have Deepin Screenshot, we have Deepin Image Viewer, a couple of more Deepin apps. A lot of custom apps here in the Deepin desktop environment. So one of the reasons why it's such a well put together and polished product is they use so many of their own custom apps. We have an Office suite installed. We have an Office suite called WPS. We have WPS Writer, WPS Presentation, WPS Spreadsheets. Now, what is WPS? The last time I reviewed Deepin, I had somebody leave a comment that WPS stands for Word Perfect Suite. No, this is not Word Perfect. WPS actually stands for Writer, Presentation, Spreadsheets. Is actually what WPS stands for. So they named the Office suite after the names of the programs, WPS. WPS is made by a Chinese company, which makes sense. Deepin is a Chinese distro. It's made by a Chinese company called Kingsoft. And it is not free and open source software, unfortunately. They do put this out under a proprietary license. Let's open up the WPS Writer. Do I accept? Yeah, I'll accept the WPS license so I can open up the program. I've never really used WPS. I'm a LibreOffice guy myself, but it looks really neat. I mean, it looks like it is a fully functional, just loaded down with everything you need for, in this case, word processing. Looks really clean, too. Really a beautiful looking program. Again, though, it's not free and open source, so I wouldn't use it. Not when I have a free and open source alternative available that's a really good one like LibreOffice, but it does look like it's a really nice program. We have our text editor. Let's see what text editor they're using. Does it give me an option for any kind of about information about? Okay, they're using gedit. That's what I was thinking. So gedit, of course, is the standard plain text editor in the GNOME desktop environment. Let's see, we have Deepen Cloud Print, Deepen Cloud Scan, print settings. Not sure what CHMC is. It's not a program I'm familiar with. Code.google. Yeah, it doesn't really tell me anything about the program. Let's see. CHMC is not being developed anymore, so whatever the program is, it's a dead program. So I won't bother reading anything else about it. That's kind of strange, that because so many things about Deepen are so modern, and here they are. They have a program installed that apparently is a dead program. For reading, they have a category called reading. We have Foxit Reader. Let's see what this is. Wow, the font is like a monospaced font in the menu. I wonder why they're doing that. It's kind of strange. Let's see, the software. Let's see. Really doesn't tell me anything about. It's a PDF viewer, but I'm wondering why they have all the monospaced font in this program. Oh well. Of course, we have the Deepen File Manager. The Deepen File Manager is a really nice file manager. Let's see, Deepen File Manager version 1.7. And back to the launcher here, we have the Deepen Store. One of the big highlights of Deepen is their App Center, their software center. It is just very beautiful. I mean, look at the animations here and the banners. You have your little graphics, your little thumbnails and everything. You have this bar here on the side. For example, you can search for programs by their ranking. It's going to take a minute. It's loading. Yeah, it's probably pulling stuff down from the internet. This is probably a front end to like a web store. We have categories such as internet, chat, music, video, graphics. I clicked the internet category. And here you see some of the popular internet programs available from the repos: Firefox, Opera, Transmission, Qubit, Torrent, TeamViewer, Adobe Flash Player, Tor Browser, FileZilla, etc. You guys, if you would rather search via a search field, for example, I would probably install something like HTOP on this system if it wasn't here. HTOP did not come up in the search results. That's interesting. It is a Debian-based distro, and HTOP is going to be in the repos, but for some reason it does not come up in the search results here in the Deepen store anyway. I could probably install HTOP from the command line. Alright, we have our Deepen terminal. This is a standard terminal emulator. Apparently they're doing their own custom terminal emulator, which is a little strange. I don't know why they wouldn't just go with something like the GNOME terminal, for example. And the Deepen manual, we read in the release notes that they now have this manual. For example, if we click Desktop Environment, we get an instruction manual telling us all about the Deepen desktop environment, how to adjust icon size, set display, set the hot corner, set wallpaper, etc. Most of this stuff is the same as previous versions of Deepen I've looked at. Again, some of the stuff that has changed, though, we'll take a look at the system monitor here. I mentioned CPU and memory usage. One of the things, at least running it in a VM, CPU usage is often very high. Memory usage is also pretty high. We're using, right now, this is common mode. This is not effect mode. We're using about 3 to 6, 8% now of the CPU, but I'm not doing anything. Memory, we're using 863 megs of the 4 gigs of RAM I gave this VM. Now let me open up some other window. How about I go and open up the file manager again. Now you guys check out CPU usage when I start moving stuff around and just playing. You see it moves, it spikes up a little bit. That actually wasn't too bad. I'm going to click on the panel at the bottom and I'm going to change to efficient mode for our panel. And I really like this. I really like having 100% width on a panel, and I usually put my panels at the bottom of the screen, which is already at the bottom of the screen. But if I wanted to, location, top. If I wanted to, I could also do location, left. And the left-hand side panel actually looks really, really good. That is very beautiful, very clean. Really everything about this distro, again, it's just a gorgeous distro. Like I said, I usually like the standard kind of start menus. The only thing I don't like is, I'm not sure why we don't have categories for our programs here in this menu. It's very strange. And we do have these kind of links to various places in our file manager, so that's kind of cool. And I like the clock here. Clicking on the clock takes us to the time and date settings in the right hand navigation panel. So you can also, let's see, is it the settings cog here? Yep, they call it the control center. So you click that and you get your panel here. Now, in previous versions of Deepen, what you would have to do, this is a very long list of settings. You can scroll through it but you know what? They added these new buttons now. You see these? So if I just click that, it takes me to display. If I click keyboard, it quickly gets me down here to the keyboard settings where I don't have to scroll through this massive list of settings. Now I just click on, time and date. Or is this network? Personalization, so we can change theme. I'm not going to change the theme. Well, actually, I should play around with the theme. Do we have the dark theme as an option? Looks like the light theme is the default theme. Let's set it to the dark theme. And let me open up the file manager again, see if we actually get a dark theme. It's still the light theme. Maybe I actually need to log out to get that thing to set. Well, let me log out and log back in. It's always been a problem with Deepen is changing the theme. The theme is not consistent when you switch between light and dark themes. It does seem like it's a bit buggy. Like this is, I'm trying to use a dark theme and this is not a dark theme. If I go back to the settings here. Let's see, where am I going here? Theme. Why can I not change the theme here? Okay, I've got a little checkbox next to it, but why is it not changing? Yeah, I'm a little confused about how to change the theme here, guys. Yeah, I can't figure out how to change the theme. I mean, I've got, excuse me, there are options here for theme as far as Deepen, the default one, and Deepen Dark, and I've got a checkbox next to the dark theme like I've selected it, but there are no programs opening with a dark theme. Of course, the Deepen store has its own like custom theme, so it's not gonna. But like Deepen Music is still a light theme. The file manager, I keep opening the file manager, it's still a light theme. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Of course, that's the session screen for shutdown, reboot, suspend, lock, and log out right here. Of course, this is still efficient mode where our panel is 100%. We changed location to the bottom size. You know what? I probably would make the icons a little smaller. By default, it's set to this medium size. You do have large size for larger icons. That might be fine if you were going to put it on the left-hand side of the screen where, a little bit bigger icons might make a little more sense. Me, I like small. Yeah, I like it to get out of my way a little bit. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reboot this VM. Wow, that's some interesting music as far as shutdown. What I'm going to do rebooting this machine is instead of doing the common mode, I'm going to do the effects mode. I'm going to enable all the effects this time just to see how performance is in this VM. I did give this VM 2 cores of my 6-core CPU. I gave it 4 gigs of RAM, so it should be able to handle it. Let's see. When I logged in, it didn't give me an option to switch to the effects mode. I wonder where I do that from inside the desktop environment itself. Is it under display maybe? Let's see, we got resolution, display scaling, default apps, network, it's not going to be there, sound, let's see, time and date, we have power and management, mouse, keyboard, we have an update tool, and then system information. Let's see, how do I change this to effect mode? If I type effect in the terminal or in the menu, will it give me anything? No. How about just settings? Is there some kind of settings manager I can open other than that navigation panel? Because no, it just opens up the control center. And I'm not really sure how to get to effects mode from here. Well, that is neat. So we have this little these arrow buttons. Of course, we have our navigation control buttons here, but if you arrow over, you get weather information. We get like a 5-day forecast. That is really neat. And then, of course, we have some notification stuff. Clear all. We get rid of all that. Yep, system notifications. Also on the screen, we have volume adjustment and brightness adjustment. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm struggling finding some of the settings, how to change the theme. For one thing, I still don't know why the dark theme is not taking effect, even after logging out and rebooting the machine. I still don't have programs launching with a dark theme enabled. I would like to change to effect mode now, and for some reason, I'm not sure how to do that. Okay, guys, I guess it's been a long day, and, you know, my mind is just all over the place. Under personalization, enable window effect. That enables the effects. The screen goes black, though, when I enable that. Okay, and now we get the cool, like Gaussian, blur, transparency effects that are really, really nice. I mean, this is so attractive if it didn't use a ton of CPU. The panel, both panels, the bottom panel and this little side panel, this right-hand navigation panel that's really slow now. Let me open up the system monitor again. And I guess it would be easy to type the system monitor. Yep. And watch CPU percentage. It's using, you know, 35 to 50%. Settling somewhere around 40% of the 2 cores of my 6-core CPU that I gave this VM. That's high. Now this, again, is probably because it's in a VM. If I installed this on physical hardware, it wouldn't be so bad. Inside a VM, though, this window effect mode, it's best to not enable that thing because it's just, you can see how slow and sluggish this is. Even with 2 cores and 4 gigs of RAM. Now the RAM, before, not with window effect mode, it was using about 860 megs. Now it is pushing right at a gig, 994 megs. So, but it is a very attractive desktop environment. I got to give it that. Wow, and now look, the menu system with the blur. I'm not much, you know, on having these kind of weird effects, you know, these blurring effects and the window animations and stuff, but I gotta give the Deepened guys credit. This thing is gorgeous. I mean, this is probably the most attractive Linux distro out there right now. Let's see what kind of wallpapers we have as an option. You guys know I love playing with the wallpapers, and I love their Wallpaper Selection utility, this bar that just pops up at the bottom. It's just very easy to quickly see what wallpapers are available for us and to change between them. That's a really neat wallpaper. Very cool. Very cool stuff. Auroras. That's really nice too. You know what? We may just go with that one. Nah, let's see what else we can find. Since we have a dark panel, let's see if we can find a lighter colored wallpaper. Let's see. That might work. That would definitely work. Yeah. I could go with something like that, but you know what? They had one with this hummingbird here. Where was the hummingbird? And that might work. Actually, they have a ton of wallpapers to choose from here. Yeah, really neat, really neat. So this has just been a very quick installation and first look of Deepin 15.6. My overall thoughts: looks beautiful, just a fantastic distro. The install process is very easy. I was actually surprised at how little information it asked you to enter in the installer. I mean, you chose a username and password, and basically that was it. It automatically figured out my time zone and keyboard layout, probably from language. I didn't have to do anything about that. The automatic partitioning just worked. The install process, start to finish, was probably about 20 minutes. Not bad. The desktop environment itself, I'm a little disappointed that I cannot get like the theming, the dark theming and the light theming to work. I have changed to a dark theme several times now, and it's enabled right now. If I go to this side panel and I go to theming, see personalization, theme, I mean, there's an arrow and a check right here, checkbox. I've chosen the dark theme. It's enabled, but nothing is opening with a dark theme. Let me see. Keep opening a lot of the same programs. Maybe I can... It's very slow here with the effect mode on. Now Gedit does open as a dark theme. Okay, so maybe it's just certain programs. So this is... Basically, they still haven't fixed this problem where you switch to a light theme from a dark theme or vice versa, and it doesn't take effect for every program. You're still going to have half of your programs light, half of your programs dark. That's not very good for consistency's sake. I mean, they get so many things right. That installer, the slideshow in that installer, you guys didn't get to see a lot of that, but that thing was gorgeous. That welcome screen, the little welcome video, gorgeous. All the effects, all the Gaussian blur effects here in the menu and the panel, all the panels, the side panel, this menu here, just gorgeous. They get so many things right. I really wish they would get some consistency with the theming. If I choose a dark theme, every program on the system needs to respect that, and right now it still doesn't happen. But overall, I really like what I'm seeing with Deepen. One of these days, I'm going to have to go ahead and just install this on physical hardware, even though, again, it's not my kind of distro because I'm a minimalist. I actually wouldn't mind trying Deepen out, maybe on my main production machine for like a month, just to see how I like it. I suspect I would like the workflow. It's very traditional, and that you have your standard panel and taskbar, your standard menu system. Everything looks like, it would fit my workflow anyway. Better than a lot of desktop environments out there. Certainly better than something like the GNOME shell, which I've never cared for. But Deepen, I'm going to have to give it a try. Now, before I go, I do need to give a special shout out to my patrons, all my Patreon supporters: David, Carlos, Nick, Daniel, Brian, Leor, AK, Ron, Keith, Dan, Michael, Tony, Bruno, David, Mike, Silvio, Omar, Mark, Mr. Neely Pops, John, Carl, Greg, Rob, Matt, Christian, Tiedemann, Stephen Z, Eduardo, Alex, Jake, Benjamin, Stephen B, Marcus, Interceptor, Tubella, Humade, and Paul. You guys rock. You guys help make this show possible. Peace, guys.